Let's compare and contrast three providers of personal loans. So you have Upgrade, you have Upstart, and you have Universal Credit. And so here is the analysis I want you to think about. Let me first start with Upgrade. When you think about Upgrade, I want you to think about a low minimum, so $1,000, and a maximum of $50,000. That gives you a lot of flexibility, okay? Because some lenders want to start you at $5,000, but Upgrade is pretty flexible. They will actually start you at $1,000, okay? And you are able to actually get as much as you can, regardless of the FICO you have. In other words, Upgrade is pretty flexible in terms of FICO score. As a matter of fact, they can go all the way to a 550. So if you have 550 FICO score, you can actually score maybe 10 grand or 15 grand with Upgrade, not a problem. So what are the pluses and minuses of Upgrade if you were to think about this lender? Well, on the plus side, you actually can you have a longer repayment window. So 7 years, that's really good. 7 years, 84 months. That gives you a lot of flexibility in your budget, but also a lot of space to breathe. Okay, and joint applications are allowed. So if you want to actually co-apply with a significant other or a family member, for that matter, you actually can qualify through Upgrade. That's really good. You also have a pre-qualification process available, so you can actually pre-qualify. The thing is that with Upgrade, you don't have to actually sacrifice your score, your FICO score at the beginning through a hard pull. You can go through a soft pull, and if you like what you see, if you like the offer they actually give you, you can actually now consent to a hard pull, and you also get funded real fast. So Upgrade is pretty good for speedy funding. So you get your cash within 1 to 2 business days. That's kind of cool. Like no time wasted here. Okay. Now, on the flip side, and this is something you need to really think about, if you are considering an Upgrade loan this year, you want to really contemplate also a costly origination fee up to 10%. So from 1% to 10%. So that's a lot of cash. Okay. There could be other potential fees, for instance, late fees or insufficient funds. And you also have a high minimum interest. So you're looking at 8% all the way to 12%. But the thing is that Upgrade is really good for you if you're trying to really consolidate credit cards. If you have a cosigner to help you qualify if you're not eligible on your own. If you don't need to borrow much, because Upgrade actually starts you at $1,000. Or if you prefer if you want to have a loan with a fixed rate, so you pay the same amount every month. So that's really the kind of possibilities that Upgrade gives you. So in terms of eligibility requirements, if you have 550, that's what I said a little earlier, right? 550 minimum, Upgrade will consider you. But Upgrade is pretty strict when it comes to your ability to repay the loan. So you got to really think about your W-2s, your pay stub, right? Anything that really shows how much you're making. That's really good for Upgrade, because you have to really validate your revenue sources. And so as long as you have verifiable documents to prove your income or financial history, I mean, Upgrade will actually work with you. That's not a problem. Okay, so they want to pay attention to your ability to repay. Of course, they want to look at your employment, your job history. So because the whole thing is, I mean, if you're not working, where are you finding the money to actually repay the loan? I mean, they really pay attention to that. I mean, Upgrade is not really tight in terms of, they're not tight in terms of risk management, but they just want to make sure that you are able to repay the loan that you're getting. And Upgrade is actually available to you no matter where you live at. So the loans are available in all 50 states as well as the District of Columbia. So that's kind of cool. And so that's really good. And one thing you need just to make sure, you have to make sure that you actually specify to Upgrade the use of loan proceeds, because Upgrade wants to make sure you're not really getting a loan for illegal stuff. Like, you're not getting a loan for gambling. You're not getting a loan for investments. You're not getting a loan for education expenses, including college tuition, supplies, and room and board. Because basically, if you're looking for a student loan, you might as well just get a student loan. I mean, an Upgrade loan, personal loan is not for those things that I just mentioned to you. That's really important to think about. So the thing is that when you think about Upgrade, I want you to think about flexibility, but also think about a low minimum payment amount. So Upgrade is not really complicating things for you, right? They will lend you a one maximum of $50,000, minimum $1,000. So you have a big delta. So there's a big gap in between for you to get a loan that could actually qualify you. But the thing is that if you want more, if you want more than $50,000, you might want to think about a player such as SoFi, for instance. SoFi will qualify you for up to $100,000. I want to talk to you now about Upstart, and this is the second lender into this conversation. I'm still talking to you about Upgrade versus Upstart versus Universal Credit. Which player should you go for? Which lender should you go for? Right. So when you think about Upstart, I want you to think about a lender that can actually give you the same maximum. Maximum is the $50,000, but Upstart is actually open to lending to borrowers with credit scores as low as 300 or with no credit history at all. So that's a big differentiator when you think about Upstart. Upstart actually will work with you even if you are in the subprime category, something that Upgrade is not really going for. As you said a little earlier, I told you that Upgrade will consider you at 550, right? But Upstart will consider you if you have 300. And so in terms of their APR, the APR is kind of cool too, like a minimum 7.8%. That's really good. And so overall, when you think about Upstart, think about a lender that has received countless positive reviews online, okay? And there are no prepayment penalties if you actually pay off your loan ahead of schedule. So that's kind of cool also, especially at least if you are trying to have a clear idea about your finances, having the ability to repay your loan could be an important element. So on the flip side, if you're thinking about, let's say, Upstart, you got to really think about the origination fee that they're charging you. I mean, that's a lot of cash. I mean, 0% to 12%, that's really, really a lot of money. And also, Upstart is actually charging you the maximum rate allowed by law. So that's the 35.99%. So the thing is that if you have bad credit, if you have a low credit score, you might actually expect to have an APR around 35.99%. That's the maximum. And with Upstart, there's no same-day loan funding available. So if you think about Upgrade can actually fund you within 24 hours, right? Upstart, they will fund you within within 48 to 72 hours. And also the repayment window is actually shorter because Upgrade actually is giving you up to 7 years. With Upstart, you have 3 or 5 years. So that's a big delta there. So the thing is, when you close your eyes and think about Upstart, think about an ideal option for borrowers who have little to no credit history, or those who have a poor or fair credit. So if you are in that category, you might want to think about Upstart, that's for sure. So to actually get an Upstart personal loan, you want to actually see if you want to pre-qualify first. So you do not want to sacrifice your FICO score. So go through a soft pull first. You want to choose your desired loan term, and if you like what they're offering you through the soft pull process, just choose your loan term and submit your full application and receive the funding. Pretty straightforward. So in terms of eligibility, and if you are really interested in an Upstart personal loan this year, make sure that you are 18 years old. Okay, 18 years of age. You got to have a valid email address. You also got to have a verifiable name, date of birth, and social security number. Verifiable means that if you tell them that you are John Doe, what happens here, the Upstart will actually do some due diligence, check out your credit score, your FICO score, all that kind of stuff to make sure that you are who you say you are. Okay, and so actually, the thing is that Upstart doesn't have a problem funding you real fast, but there are a few things that they do not want to have in your history. If you have any bankruptcies within the past year, the past 12 months, Upstart is not going to actually fund you. If you have any public records on your, like any public records such as, I don't know, like DUI or DIY, whatever, basically Upstart is not going to fund you. If you have any currently delinquent account, they're not going to fund you. If you have more than 6 inquiries on your credit report in the last 6 months, basically they're not going to fund you. So of course they will work with you if you have bad credit, but they have limits too. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And one thing you have to really also analyze here is that Upstart actually has some requirements in terms of employment, so in terms of income, and also in terms of DTI. So we are speaking about your debt to income ratio. Now, basically, in terms of DTI, they do not want you to really go above 45 or 50%. So basically, this is something really now. Why 45 or 50%? Why not just a specific amount? That's just because every state has different requirements. So depending on your states, the DTI maximum could be 45% or 50% or anything in between. By the way, okay. And Upstart is available in all states, so that's kind of cool. And you can use actually an Upstart personal loan for all kinds of stuff, like for debt consolidation or debt refinancing. Or you can use the cash to start or grow a company. Yeah, you can actually get a personal loan to grow a company. You can use the cash for medical expenses, large purchases, moving or relocation. So that's a possibility also, okay, for travel, for athletic training. There are people who actually take out loans to actually train for the Olympics. That's totally possible. But just make sure that you pay attention to the loan origination fee that I told you a little earlier, right? 0 to 12%, and also the early repayment penalties. There are also some early repayment penalties. So this is something that could really also influence your decision to go with Upstart in the first place. Let me talk to you now about universal credit. So when you think about universal credit, think about Upgrade, because basically universal credit is owned and powered by Upgrade. Now you might be thinking, why is Upgrade a lender and still trying to open another affiliate to also do lending? Well, it's because Upgrade is trying to diversify the market. So loans available through universal credit amount to, they range from $1,000 to $50,000, kind of similar to Upgrade in the first place, okay? And both loans from Upgrade and loans from Universal Credits are actually originated by partners Cross River Bank and Blue Ridge Bank, okay? So the main difference here is that the FICO score that Universal Credit accepts is lower than the FICO score that Upgrade actually approves, okay? And also with Universal Credit, basically the maximum interest rate is high. So this is kind of an important element to think about. So think about Universal Credit as the quote-unquote bad credit arm of Upgrade. Upgrade will qualify you also if you have bad credit, but you have more chances of being approved if you went to Universal Credit, okay? So here with Universal Credit, you have access to a high DTI ratio, debt to income ratio. You also have a low borrowing minimum, $1,000, and minimum credit score can actually go from 530 all the way to 580, whereas for Upgrade it's 550 all the way to 600. So you can see there is a difference there. And also with Universal Credit, funds are available as soon as 1 day. So once you actually are approved, Universal Credit actually will move real fast to make the funds available to you. So, and Universal Credit charges an origination fee, so just be aware of that. And also rates are high compared to some lenders. So think about Universal Credit as, again, a subprime lender, okay? So you want to use a loan from Universal Credit if you are trying to consolidate high interest loans. Okay, high interest loans, if you have a low credit score and or a high DTI ratio, if you don't mind paying higher interest rates, and you only need to borrow a small amounts, okay? So it's don't actually go with Universal Credit if you need to borrow more than $50,000. If that's the case, you just can go to SoFi, for instance, or even Livestream for that matter. Don't choose Universal Credit if you do not want origination fees to come out of your loan proceeds. And also, if you can qualify for more competitive rates and fees elsewhere, go for it. So, long story short, I mean, the origination fees we are speaking about an average of 8%. Okay. And in terms of loan repayment terms, you are looking at 3 years to 7 years. So, kind of similar to what Upgrade is actually offering. Okay. So, the main difference, once again, is that basically Universal Credit is actually charging you way more. They're charging you way more to actually get the same results anyway. So this is something that you need to really think about. One thing I want to say also is that you have a lot of flexibility. That's the most important element. You have flexibility and you have choices, okay? And that's good to really think about, especially if you're looking at things from let's say a scalability point of view. Like you want to go from maybe like $20,000 to $30,000 or even more. So this is kind of cool. This is where this player really helps you a lot. So if you want to qualify for a universal personal loan, universal credit personal loan, the process is pretty straightforward. You don't really have to ask yourself like how much you can qualify for. Go through the process first, right? Go through the soft pull process and see how much you can qualify for. Yeah, the thing is that they ask you a credit score. Universal Credit asks you a credit score minimum of 530 to 580, depending on your states. Okay, and so this is actually, as I said earlier, slightly lower than the minimum score required to qualify for a personal loan through Upgrade, which really owns Universal Credit. And so it's one of those things where you want to think about your ability to repay the loan, but because it's not just about you getting the loan, right? What are you going to repay the loan with? So you might have to think about maybe your income sources, maybe if you have other sources to really justify. It's an important element to think about. Universal Credit does not allow borrowers to apply with a co-signer or co-applicant, so you are on your own, really. Okay, you have to really see what kind of strategies you need to put in place to make sure that you actually qualify. If you can't qualify by yourself, then you have to really see something else. Okay, and but always you want to go through the pre-qual process, the soft pull process, to see how much you can qualify for. And one thing I want to say also is that when you think about Universal Credit, remember that it's all about how much you can get in the end, right? Because they are charging you an origination fee, that's for sure. But that fee is coming out of the loan they're giving you, the loan proceeds they're giving you. So you have to be comfortable with that fee, really. Also, remember that the maximum loan. So the thing is that when you think about Universal Credit, I mean, if for any reason you don't like their conditions, the terms and conditions, you always have other players to actually explore, right? You have Avon, you have of course you have Upstart, you have SoFi, but you got to really think about what's your goal in the first place? How much are they charging you? Of course, the origination fee is there, but what kind of extra penalties they are charging you? Because the last thing you want is to actually tie the knots, quote unquote, tie the knots with a lender who is just playing games with you, especially when it comes to fees. Okay. The last thing I want you to really think about also is that you want to think about the whether or not the lender is charging an administration fee, because there are some lenders. I mean, thank God, Universal Credit, they don't charge you an administration fee. But if you take a player such as Avon, they charge you an admin fee. They charge you also a loan origination fee. So that's a lot of fees, really, because an admin fee can be all the way to 5%, and a loan origination fee can be somewhere from 0 to 10%. So that's a lot of fees. So when you think about Upgrade versus Upstart versus Universal Credit, which one should you go for, really? I mean, this year, it's important to understand that the lender you go for actually has to has to meet your needs in terms of budget, in terms of loans, in terms of use of loan proceeds. So what you want to do is before choosing, you want to check eligibility requirements, because you can see, for instance, that Upgrade has upgrades eligibility in terms of a FICO score are a little higher than Universal Credit, right? Universal Credit, it will give you will consider you at 300, but Upgrade will want you to really be a little up. Think also about the loan amounts and the funding time, not just a loan amount. Like, they all will give you a $50,000 maximum, but how early would they fund you? Do you have to wait days? Do you have to actually sacrifice time, or just you get your cash right away? Because the last thing you want is actually think about like being approved for a loan, and the money ain't coming out real fast. That's a waste of money, and whereas the bank is still making money on that money, right? So you also want to think about customer experiences. So you want to read reviews online. You want to watch shows like this, so you can actually educate yourself as to what the lender really offers. You want to compare rates and fees. You also have to think about the repayment window, like what's the time that the lender, Upgrade or Upstart or Universal Credit, gives you. So that's an important element to think about. And also when it comes to the use of loan proceeds, because some lenders have pretty strict rules around the use of loan proceeds, whereas others are pretty flexible. Just make sure that whatever you want to use the loan for, the specific lender that you go for, like Upgrade or Upstart or Universal Credit, they are okay with that. Because remember, you can use a personal loan for credit card, debt consolidation, medical bills, emergency vehicle repairs, home improvement projects. A lot of stuff happens. Large purchases, moving expenses. You can actually use the cash to fund a new wedding or a vacation. I mean, you have a lot of stuff you can do with a loan. Okay, so what is the pick here? Upgrade versus Upstart versus Universal Credit. Which one should you go for? It really depends on your credit score and financial situation. So you want to actually go for Upgrade if your credit score is a little high and your financial situation is better. You want to go for Universal Credit if your FICO score is low, really really low, and your financial life is not really that the best. You want to go for Upstart if your situation is in between. In other words, your FICO score is not really that high, not really that low either. It's like in the middle. Same thing for your financial situation. So in conclusion to this conversation, I just did a quick compare and contrast between Upgrade, Upstart, and Universal Credit, okay? And I gave you the analysis, I gave you the evaluation, the pick, and the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.